Good morning, Mojave County. This is Jansen Villegas, and welcome to the Jansen Show. I am here today with the digital marketing manager of Findlay Motor Company, the man, the myth, the legend, the CEO of DAYNIGHT Media, Destry Phillips. It's so amazing to have you, my friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself this morning, Destry. Let us know who you are, what you do, what you represent, where you're from. Give me your social. Let's hear it.
Well, thank you for having me, Jansen, and Jeff producing the show. It's great to be here. They finally gave me the bat signal. I've been waiting about 5 weeks or so, it seems like, to come out here. So you gave me a text this morning, and I said I'd be here.
It wasn't last notice. It wasn't short notice.
It was about 2 hours ago. But, yeah, it's great to be here. I am digital marketing manager here at Findlay. I got hired on as social media and, quickly got promoted to digital marketing. So
he's sick.
I manage a website, social media, talk to people we work with across country, coordinate everything digital, basically. Google.
Yeah, you're our go-to guy within the internet department whenever we need adjustments to the websites, that sort of thing. How about in relevance to a few events that you've had recently that you've done some really, really kick-ass videos on? I know that the Boombox Parade video came out super amazing, and then you have a few commercials and like ads set up for the company. How long have you been editing videos and within that industry or that genre of things?
So I've been editing videos probably about, let's say, 4 or 5 years now. Let's just take it back. So I started editing videos when I was riding dirt bikes with my buddy Michael Willis down there in Needles. This is actually, a short clip from the Boombox Parade we had a couple weeks ago down there off
drone
Hancock.
footage, yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
So I just took the drone down there right here.
Homies on the one wheel.
Yeah, they didn't like that too much. So I just posted up on the sidewalk basically and started flying around for like an hour. And I've got enough experience to where I can get close enough to these floats and not worry about hitting people or hitting the trucks or losing connection. So
you said you grew up in Needles?
Yeah,
cool.
I grew up in Needles, born and raised. But yeah, so let's just take it back to where I started video editing.
Weed.
Yeah, Weedles, they might say now, huh? But it's good for the town.
Yeah, it's dope.
I've worked on a lot of various construction sites with my grandparents and uncles, Phillips Excavating. So
cool.
We would like manicure the pads.
He just bought a truck,
for the
huh?
buildings to go on. That was Lucas.
Cool.
He does the docks and stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, I just started making videos. My buddy Michael Willis, we would always ride like dirt bikes on our track at our houses and ride out in the desert. So I grabbed my phone, started making some cool videos, and they were taking off, and they're actually decent quality for how young we were and how new the technology was. So
that's where you found your passion for
that's
that?
like where it really stemmed, and I didn't know that for like a couple of years.
Yeah, I've always wanted to, because I actually even see myself as a UFC fighter sometimes when I imagine things, and then, of course, I do the whole...
Dude, I do the same thing. I think I'm Sean O'Malley sometimes.
So dope. I love imagining myself a certain way.
Who do you imagine? Like, if you're hitting the bag or working out or something, who do you think you are? Like, who do you picture? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, God, I'm so petty, but sometimes, like, it depends. Like, if I'm boxing, I want to act like if I was Mike Tyson or something, and then, like, if I see myself doing something cool in, like, an octagon where I'm just imagining things, I literally think, like, I'm Anderson Silva or something.
Yeah.
But then I do this, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's, like...
And then he wakes up.
Yeah, like 2 feet reach.
I don't even got no reach, I think my record is, like, 0-1. I've only gotten my butt kicked, So, violence is not my thing.
Yeah.
But...
Dude, honestly, I when I'm hitting the bag, I think about like Canelo if I'm boxing.
He's so dope. I love Canelo.
Just that,
my
like,
little ginger.
That feint like this, that feint, and then the uppercut. It's nasty.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
So, because this is a little off topic, but it's more like what topic do we have to topic about when it's really our topics?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to dive into, the holiday spirit. Naturally, we have our Santa Claus thing on. We have a really cool background, and just wanted to touch base on what you think traditions are now around the holiday season compared to maybe what they were with you growing up, and like, for example, I think that right now the Christmas, time is more relevant to receiving than giving. And that's why I really enjoy what Findlay Motor Company does, because they are very giving oriented, and it's very rewarding to give, of course, without expecting anything. I don't think giving with expectation is genuinely giving, But referencing kids, what do you think is different now than it used to be, if anything?
So I have like mixed thoughts on that. Because growing up, Christmas for me was always, what I remember the most was we hold a Christmas Eve party at my house every year. So we get all the family, we get friends of the family, whoever wants to come by, just come by and hang out and, have some drinks. So as a kid, I was always like, oh, I can't wait to come to this Christmas party and like hang out with my friends and family,
right.
And then Christmas Day, we have not a celebration, but a gathering at my grandparents' house, with all the family. But as I get older, it seems like there's less and less people each year almost.
Right.
I don't know if that's like just a part of growing up or if, the tradition is dying out a little bit, which I don't think it is. But I think as we get older, like things kind of just change and you look at things through like new eyes almost.
Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely right. I see way less family reunion now than when I was younger, but then it's like as we get older, we also have so much more on our plates, so you really don't know what the other person's circumstance is to think, oh, they didn't show up or this or that. I remember me personally, I would ask for gifts, and then and now that I think about it, I'm like, well, at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, if Santa Claus isn't bringing me gifts, why am I asking for them, So, I don't know. I just always felt, well, now I feel like, oh, man, maybe I shouldn't have been asking for gifts then because I don't know if we could afford it or not, but they still went the extra mile to make sure that I got the things that I wanted. So it's mixed feelings because I want to give everything,
I feel like that's something that, isn't really your fault, though. You're a kid. You're supposed to ask for presents, I think.
True.
And it's just like, it's like a circle. As you get older and, you have kids and you want to give them everything,
It's true.
Yeah.
I do.
So.
And then my little goddaughters and that sort of thing, I really want to give them everything. But I don't want to give adults nothing. I don't like the idea of getting adults presents. But then it's like, oh, well, then where's your spirit of giving, Jansen, you hypocrite?
Yeah. I don't think you have to give gifts to everyone. I think you should give to people who you think deserve a gift. It's completely up to you.
True.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was that kid. Sorry, Mom and Dad, you're probably gonna watch this. I was that kid who was asking for all the expensive gifts, and they would always get me, all the gifts I wanted. I remember one year, I was so bummed out because I wanted, those RC trucks, those electric ones that are like super fast. And I didn't get it. I was done unwrapping all my presents, and it was pretty sad. But then they said, there's one more. It's under the little hutch. So I pulled back the blanket, and it was there. It's like, oh, my God, this is freaking awesome.
My parents did that to me for a Nintendo 64, but I wasn't upset. I felt guilty because actually I did feel upset, and then I immediately felt guilty for feeling upset, so I didn't show them that I was upset.
Well, how old were you then?
Probably like 12
you
or
think
13.
When you were 12, you were feeling that way, or now you feel that way?
No, I felt immediately. So like because when I was done opening my gifts, I didn't get my Nintendo 64. I felt upset, and then I immediately felt guilty for feeling upset over not getting the gift that I wanted. So I didn't show my, I wasn't upset with my parents. I was grateful because I felt guilty for feeling upset over not getting a gift. And then they gave me my Nintendo 64, and it was almost rewarding that I didn't react that way, which in turn, all that train of thought ended up being anxiety at 29 years old. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, dude, I didn't have those thoughts growing up. Like, I didn't feel guilty if, I guess I just didn't have that
My parents were pro, bro. They were poor.
Yeah, that is different. See, my parents weren't poor. I had everything I ever wanted growing up. I came from a really good family. We just have, like, some really strong backing, so super
that's the
grateful
thing.
for that.
I honestly, I got everything I ever wanted to growing up, and that's where, my parents did a lot of sacrifice. I can't even say we're poor because that's not a good statement to make compared to what exists in the world,
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't poor. I was blessed to have shelter and have my parents there, and they gave me everything I ever needed. And I would have to take back my statement. We didn't grow up poor. We were very blessed to have everything we needed. Did we eat a bunch of Top Ramen? Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't?
Dude, I ate Top Ramen. I love Top Ramen.
I still eat Top
the
Ramen.
Soy
Well, they don't even
flavor,
have Top Ramen
the
no
blue
more.
one. What?
No, I freaking only see the cups now. I don't see the.
Are you serious? Dude,
yeah.
I think they changed the packaging. It's like a little more poppy and modern.
Did you know it was called Top Ramen, or it's called Maruchan, not cup noodles?
Dude, I didn't eat cup of noodles. I ate the little packaged ones.
No, I ate the styrofoam ones where when I was done eating them, and then you bite the styrofoam for some weird reason. You're like biting the cup for no reason, just to be annoying.
I never did that.
Oh yeah, and I would push. I was very destructive.
Yeah.
To this day, actually, I don't know why.
Yeah, but I read this. It's funny because I actually read this quote this morning. It was like the poorest president in the world. I think it was Uruguay or I don't even know. Somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Was it
donates his funds or his income?
Somewhere in Africa or something. But I guess he makes like $1,000 a year. But he said he's not poor. It's just a mindset. You're only poor if. How does it go? You're only poor if you like expect to have an expensive lifestyle.
Right. Yeah, it's true. The
like your lifestyle dictates, your funds ultimately, right?
Right. Yeah, it does technically, But then it's like I have a lot of friends, or I'm really thinking of one in particular. His name is Billy, and I don't see him materialistically involved with anything, but I see him enjoying his life. I see him having adventures, enjoying nature, and I don't know his circumstances, but I don't see him being attached to anything material. And he seems pretty freaking happy, to whereas I was willing to accept a 7-year loan for a truck.
So do you battle with like material items and stuff like that?
I don't like feeling chained to things. My phone.
Were you ever like that though? Like, I have to have this.
It's not because I care to have it. It's because for some reason I've always cared to have what others also have, in the sense that I deserve it as well. Not because it's envy or jealousy. It's because I can as well. I always feel more joy for people than I do jealousy, because usually jealousy means that you feel some type of way over somebody else's accomplishment. Jealousy isn't because. It's always like, because you have this, I feel upset, as opposed to, I'm so happy you have that. Not to say jealousy doesn't sprout within me, but I always feel like, okay, well, what's heavier, the joy I feel for the person, or the little green monster that I can't help but let pop up, Like, I don't like it, but it pops up.
You can't help it sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm like, no, get out of my head.
I feel like that, too. I guess I'm a hypocrite. Dude, it's funny, like...
The world is, my friend.
Yeah, I'm a complete hypocrite most of the time.
Me too.
I remember, because I drove around my dad's '02 F-150, throughout high school and stuff. So whenever I see the guys with the sick big truck, or nice new 2015 or 2017 at the time, whatever, you're like, oh, you don't need that. But then I finally just got this new truck, the GMC Canyon, purchased right here at Finley Chevy Buick GMC. And it's awesome. But I also get that feeling now where I'm like, oh, I need something better now. Now I need like the 2500, you know.
Well, I have a perfect example of that. I've been working with Donnie and Joe forever, and
their trucks.
Like, that's the
their
top trucks
of the truck.
Dope.
That's top of the line.
And I remember when I got my little Colorado, and then they came and worked over here, they all got full-size trucks. They had, Joe's always had a 1500, or now he has 2500s and up. But I saw Donnie get his Silverado, and Eric, and everybody had full-size trucks. So I was like, I need a full-size truck. I want a full-size truck. And, now I have my full-size truck, and then now they got 3500s and RMTs, and I'm like...
And now you want something else, right?
Well,
it never ends.
Well, not now. Now I'm like, man, I have a... Because where I'm at mindset-wise, and I'm like, oh, I have a full-size, beautiful truck, and what am I even stressing? I got everything I would ever need in this truck, and I don't actually do anything off-road. I don't even remember last time I took it to the river. It's my commuter. That's all I use it for, and so it's like, it's good to kind of plant yourself on the earth and not really allow yourself to be swayed by what other people have going on in their lives, because they're focused on themselves, which is why their lives are unfolding a certain way. And the beauty of that is that if you do the same thing, your life unfolds a certain way when you just dedicate all your time and energy on yourself. Like I'm really trying to get healthy right now, which is a battle.
Yeah, it's
especially with food.
Yeah, like you're trying to get physically healthy.
Yeah, like I don't want to think that for the last 6 or 7 years I've been abusing my body and not sleeping well, and now I have so much information in front of me that pretty much says like, hey, you're on the path to dying, bro. You know,
Really?
yeah, because of my decisions, you know. So it's like I want to think like I have apps in my phone, you know, and I have literally within my captions it says create wealth, don't quit, drink water, don't die, get
That's great
you
though,
know. So I'm
because you
just
know what you're getting as soon as you look at that. You know, as soon as you go into that little category, like for social media, I had all my social medias in one little box, and it was labeled junk.
right.
Because
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I do use it for like business and you know, my job all the time. So I guess like anything excessive, I know is junk. I don't know. I've been like reevaluating a lot of stuff, probably like in the past year or two, and it's just I got this like feeling of social media. If I can't use it as a tool, then I might as well not be on it, because if I'm not using it as a tool,
Right.
then it's almost like damaging to me.
Yeah.
Like I compare myself to others, or you know,
It
why
literally
don't I
is.
have this, or
Or
you know,
you're just
look at
consuming
that.
your time. Just
It consumes your time. It's
Yeah.
the biggest time consumer. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think you should be using it for a purpose. You know.
yeah. I mean, the internet's made it to where genuinely anybody can do anything at any time as they wish, and it's like you said, if you're sitting there and all you're doing is looking at other people and what they're doing and scrolling and imagining you doing things but not actually doing things,
It doesn't do anything.
yeah, it's just
It's a waste of
you're
time.
trapped
You're like backtracking almost.
a lot. And you know, I've done like I don't know, I think it was Rob that did the math for us, and there's a breakdown that you can do on the how long you expect to live. Oh, I expect to be 80 years old before I pass away, you know, and then you do the math on the amount of days and the amount of hours that you had, then you do the math on how much you sleep, and you see that your days are very counted, you know. If somebody told you you have 11,400 days of life left, and then tomorrow it's 11,399, et cetera, it gets very intimidating, especially when you're close to 30 years old, Jan Daddy V, to think, you know, like, oh man, I'm doing a lot, but am I really doing to my max potential?
Are you doing the most?
No, and that's what's annoying, is that if I was in a better state of mind, if I was healthier with my body and I was more focused and disciplined, it's crazy the amount of things you can achieve. And even then, having, for example, my truck loan, you know, yeah, I can afford it. Thank God that I can. But is it specifically what I need right now? Is the amount that I put towards it a month an intelligent move, or is it one because I want to have the things that I want, but technically it's not my truck, it's the bank's truck.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't justify, oh, I'm going to pay on it for 6 years because I like it, to whereas all I use it for is home and work.
Mm-hmm.
So you go down that path over and over, and it's just.
Yeah. So if there was let's say, you know, Jan Daddy V right here on this side of the table, and then like an optimal healthy Jan Daddy V, what do you think would be like 5 things that are in your way right now? Because you're always in your own way.
I would say the things that are in my way currently are lack of discipline, lack of exercise, and consistency with attitude, because I'm very I don't want to say bipolar, but my emotions sway me one direction or the other, and they feel so real that they become physical, that I act on them. But yeah, that's a very good question. I would say that if I did more discipline activities, because you have to program your mind, if I ate healthier, if I drank more water and slept better and spent more time on, like, I guess I would say extracurricular activity, something more on the creative end of things, I think that my mind would allow itself to unfold differently. Because if you're not healthy, then you can't really think healthy. And I think that's kind of like the common denominator in everything, is being able to be healthy enough to allow yourself to, you know, kind of come out of this cocoon, you know, and feel like right now I'm just that fat little worm off of Bug's Life, you know, and I'm just trying to become a fat butterfly with wings.
I mean, I think that's where it all starts, is the fitness and the diet. And, you know, a lot of people that might be listening to this, my parents, my friends, family, I was like the pickiest eater until
Really?
probably 14 years old or 16 years old. I mean, I'm talking like mac and cheese, corn dogs. I love chocolate, dude.
Really?
I love chocolate.
I have truffles
French
at my
fries,
house right now.
Jack in the Box. But I was just like almost scared to like eat food. It's so weird. Like as you're a kid, you're like, ooh, that thing looks gross. I don't want to eat it. Like, ooh.
And I'm a monster. Like my mom, she could make the worst meal ever, which she doesn't. Like she made a cabbage soup one time that my brother and sister hated. Here's my little piggy, just
But
eating.
you just don't care. You're never picky?
No, the only thing I can eat is what I'm allergic to, really. I haven't encountered an item or a food. I guess when I was younger, I got sick from eating these canned mushrooms, and after that, I didn't like canned mushrooms. But now I like mushrooms, like button mushrooms, battered, deep fried, served over a bed of fried onion strings with border sauce.
But yeah, I think it really starts there.
Sauteed.
Starts there at the fitness and the diet, because think about it. We've been like almost trained our whole life, or anyways, in the United States. I mean, I know you like grew up in Mexico a little bit, right?
Well, I didn't even grow up there. I was brought here at 7 months.
Oh, okay, I see. You went back.
So I was only out there for 3 years after I graduated. So that was a culture shock for sure, because I'm familiar with everything American, So, but I've also I compare my life to the story of Pinocchio, because you have your parents, kind of sitting there, and then you have your conscience always like telling you, hey, don't do that. But then you have this other thing that allows you to be guided through the world, and you probably get on the not the best environments, and you end up on Donkey Island.
Yeah.
That's the devil.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it starts with just what food you put in your body. Because think about it. If you shove McDonald's McMuffin down in the morning with that freaking 32-ounce iced coffee with all the chocolate and caramel, you're going to be bogged down for the next couple hours.
Right.
And then what do you do after that? You grab a Red Bull or something and you chug that. Have you had water yet, dude?
No.
Eat some more lunch, or it's just, it never ends. So I think like in this country, at least, we've been like programmed to think the best food is the cheapest food, or the easiest food.
The one that we don't have to prepare.
Which is just the way the economy works, honestly, in money, because it's all about money at the end of the day. McDonald's serves the cheapest, easiest, not the greatest tasting, but it tastes good enough,
They just never catch fire.
And you just consume it, and it's so addicting because they put these chemicals in there to make it addicting to where you want it again.
Yeah, I mean, even like it's weird. Even now, I think of like vegans, and I'm like, that kind of makes sense, I believe.
It makes a lot of sense.
Technically, like, we're humans. Our teeth aren't designed to, like, shred through meat. Just that we're intelligent enough to know that if we cook it, it tastes better and we can eat it because it's softer. And it's like...
but the thing about vegan, like, why it's so good is because it all just stems from the earth. Like, everything's from the earth. It's not processed in a factory.
Do vegans eat chicken? Or chicken's still an animal, huh?
No, they don't eat. They only eat like beans and stuff for protein. I think that's all they get their protein from is beans.
I remember I used to claim, because I would start a diet every week, and one week I was vegetarian, another week I was vegan, and one time I was sitting there, and my boss he was listening to me over there, and I was sitting there, and I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna warm up my vegan chicken," and I don't know, I think he was in a bad mood, but because I'm always talking crap, and he comes over and he's like, "You're not a vegan." And he steps out of the room and comes back and he goes, "You're a poser."
Vegan poser?
Yeah,
dude, it's like almost like a cult almost if you enter that, that side of the diet spectrum, because they're hardcore, dude. They don't mess around with like their ingredients, and because they look at everything. If it comes from a factory or like comes any sort of animal, like, like chicken broth is in this, like, no way I'm eating it.
Is that me? Am I fat breathing right now? Am I fat breathing?
You're good.
Okay, because sometimes I'll sit there and go,
no, you're good.
Just let me know, Jeff, please.
You're all good. You're all good.
No, you're not. Yeah. Are you health conscious right now as it exists?
Health conscious?
Yeah, I mean, do you eat pretty well?
Yeah, I try to eat well. Honestly, ever since I started working here, my diet might have gone like a little downhill. It might not even be like, it's not Fenley's fault or anything, but it's just the lifestyle change, getting a job.
You fly, I buy.
Yeah.
You go pick it up, I'll pay for your meal.
It's just you have like a lot less time to make good decisions, I guess.
You think you do.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I mind screw myself to believe that. Just you see how these entrepreneurs, especially with like, you know, you see Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, people that are genuinely like, come on, why are you going to give yourself an excuse? And then you're like, I want to be like that, but I can't be like that. But then you're like, since when can I not be like that? The only reason you think you can't be like that is because you live within the reality of what the majority of people said is reality, which is something that Grant Cardone says in his book, The 10X Rule. But yeah, I think listening to Audible books, podcasts, you know, mentorship through the dealership. I have really amazing leaders that thankfully have not given up on me, because I am a little bit of a roller coaster, and they've seen enough value that they have invested in me towards training, and they've pulled me aside to have one-on-ones, and our conversations are so much further and beyond business or the dealership, and they've really helped me grow. I don't think if I was not in this industry or with this company, I think that I would have a larger challenge battling my programming, because that's what we are. Is that we're programmed. We work like machines.
Well, it's who you have around you.
Exactly. I do have around me probably. I mean, I love. No, actually, I think it's a personal thing, because everything I have around me implies that I should be doing more.
They say that you're the average of the 5 closest people around you. So think about the 5 closest people you have. Does this seem about right?
Yeah, it does, technically.
That's why they say you should always be like surrounding yourself by, you know, people who you might think are, you know, a tier above, or, you know, you're doing great or successful.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to that, I really am big on mental and spiritual. Like, if you give me, like, if you're intelligent, like, for example, Rob, I feel like I have this personal blessing of being able to decrypt a person or understand a person, or even like know what their next train of thought is. So like that guy I cannot read. I cannot. He's
Rob?
help. Yeah, dude.
You can't read him?
No, I cannot.
It's hard to get a read on him.
Yeah, it's not even Bancroft, and you know.
Oh,
I mean,
he's scary.
All
he
my
looks
leaders,
scary, but he's really nice.
Oh yeah, Gonzo calls him Pastor Chris, and a lot of my personal battles I've had with him, because he gives you the right train of thought, and he kind of like allows you to. He's been, like I said, my leaders in this store have helped me as a person grow tremendously. But back to that, he's helped me break down my brain process, like cognitive thought, and then where it leads to next, and then how your mind makes a decision on what route to take, and then how your physical being portrays what you're feeling. And he kind of tells you when you're supposed to catch that, and that's allowed me to take a moment before I like react to something and be like, oh dang, I'm doing it. Sometimes I'll even say it out loud, like, you're not going to go down that route, Jansen. And then the person in front of me is like, bro, we're in the middle of an argument, what are you talking about, you know? But it's interesting. The mind is programmable. So if you are sitting there and you think you are bound for great things, and you just can't seem to rewire your brain, or you think that you can't do it, you need to get in front of some mentorship, whether it be through books or, you know, speaking to somebody. I mean, they have 1-800 numbers, but you can't do it alone.
BetterHelp.com. They're not a sponsor of this show, but I hear that on a podcast I listen to.
BetterHelp.com.
Yeah.
www.betterhelp.com.
Yeah, man, I want to talk a little bit more about that. So I'm only 22 years young. Haven't had
Really?
A lot of,
Oh, wow.
Haven't had a lot of time on this earth. But it feels like in, you know, the past, I think college has really done a lot for me. Like the first year of college was, because I came from, you know, Needles. It's a really small town. I had like 60 kids in my graduating class.
Wow.
You know, I've had like the 5 best friends in, you know, for the past 22 years, the same best friends. So I've never been to like a big city like that, or been around that many people in one small area. So college is kind of like a culture shock almost to me.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of made me
because it was so much bigger.
So much bigger. There's so many people. There's good food everywhere. There's this, there's that. You know?
This is life.
You know, it's just crazy to get out of like this little small hub we have. But that made me kind of rethink everything. And I think it was kind of my sophomore year. That's when I started getting into the video editing and marketing and stuff like that, because I realized that's what I was good at.
Right.
You know? I originally went to be an engineer, because I guess growing up, I always like to. I've always been a creative type of guy. You know, I used to like draw houses on a piece of paper or something, like the blueprints. Like, I want my room to be here, room's here, which is kind of, I don't know why I did that. Or I draw like tracks, or,
Yeah,
You know,
it's way cooler. I did stick figure ninjas.
Yeah.
Like I had little stick figure guys fighting each other.
Yeah. I just always liked to draw, I guess, or create something. So, but then it was my sophomore year of college. I was like, you know what? I can't be an engineer. I was looking around the room, and I was like, I'm not like any of these people.
Cool,
you know?
that's
I
good.
can't be friends. It's not that they're bad people, but it's just like, we're not the same almost.
No, that's good.
So then I changed my degree to marketing, and I looked around the room, and people were kind of the same, kind of, what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Same type of people. You get along with them better. You don't feel like they're nerds or awkward. And,
Right. I felt like that about the serving industry. I sat there and I was serving and bartending, and the lifestyle is like you leave work, you go to a bar, you believe you deserve a drink after a long day of work, you end up gambling, in Laughlin at least, and you just cycle through that. And I kind of one day I sat there and I noticed that I was like, I'm 24 years old hanging out with like 40-year-olds that have been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that because it's a great industry to make income, but I don't think this is what what I'm bound for.
That's what they were doing.
Right. And
you were just tagging along almost.
Exactly. And I was exposing myself to a lot of things that weren't within my character, and I just eventually I was like, no, I'm selling out. I'm like working against the grain of my integrity.
That's how I felt. I felt like I was selling out, and I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, again, but I just always felt like I had to do something like engineering or
You shouldn't say sorry. I guarantee you that's a thank you on their end.
Yeah.
Thank you for being that kind of man.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
But yeah, I just had that realization. I was like, this isn't for me. And we are not argued, but we had our discussions back and forth. Like, are you sure about this? Because no one in my family has really done like any sort of. I mean, I guess we do own businesses and stuff, so it's like in the family, but. No one's went out on a limb and done like just purely marketing or purely business outside of construction or building stuff.
Yeah, and you said I'm not an engineer. I'm more creative.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
And grew up with the technology, so it was almost like I have this technology I grew up with and I know how to work. So it's like, why not use it? This is my generation's. This is my hustle, my generation. Whereas maybe like 60 years ago, and great grandpa started the business. That's like all they had was construction stuff. They didn't have an iPad or a computer to work on stuff.
Oh, I admire all laborers, anybody that can create something from nothing. I tried landscaping for 2 days because I was in the car industry, got stressed out. Tried to do landscaping, made $200 in like 2 days, and I was like, I can't do this because I'm fat and it's too hot.
Landscaping's tough. You're sweating. You got those thorns trying to poke you all over the place, grass.
I did it when I was younger in high school, and I remember one time I went out and I took my shirt off because
because you're ripped.
Yeah, no, it was super bad. I was all
tan.
Yeah, I was super puffy and stuff. But in regards to how I got in the car industry, I actually wanted to elaborate because it was a scenario that's a little weird. I had been out partying and had, and this is not the best thing, but I offended some friends because. Under the influence, you act like an idiot. And I was to go open the bar, and I remember I was driving and pretty much apologizing because I had the moral hangover where I'm saying sorry for yesterday.
You were texting and driving?
Yes, I was.
Oh,
in the parking garage of the Golden Nugget. And it was my responsibility to open the bar. And by this time, I didn't take anything serious, but I ended up totaling my car in the parking garage. I hit the third floor wall.
Oh my God.
Thankfully, I didn't hit it like where it would break open. I hit it like at a pillar.
Jeez.
And I totaled my car. And that morning...
Were you messed up?
No, not me personally.
Oh.
Actually, it was funny. I jumped out as if it was going to blow up. I got all scared and stuff.
Run away.
But that morning, I ended up at the Riverside, and I was in the uniform that I was supposed to go to work in. Because in that moment that I totaled my car, I said, I don't want to do this no more. This is not the lifestyle I want. So I immediately, in that moment, stopped. So I had a totaled car. I quit my job, and I was at the Riverside. It was like a overcast type of day. I had a margarita in my hand, and I kind of just felt grateful, and I kind of just started chuckling. I was like, I wonder what's next in my life, because so far I've been deported, I've been good in school. I was like voted class clown, senior favorite, funniest in 8. So I've had so many things that are fun. I'm like, I wonder what's next, and I text my buddy Eric, hey, bro, I just quit my job, if you know of anybody hiring, and he immediately is like, well, we can get you here, bro, if you want. I can get you a job. And next day I'm there and I'm hired and I'm working at the Ford store, and thankfully I did well there and able to grow and find Findlay Motor Company and really grew a lot up as a person. So
Yeah.
it's fun. I would encourage anybody that needs to make that type of decision to not be afraid of failing, or just, commit now and figure it out later. Don't not do things because you need a plan on doing things. Just do things and see what happens.
Let's talk about that moment right there where you said the sun is coming up, or you had the margarita. Like, do you get those moments pretty often, or is that kind of like a once in a lifetime?
Like those epiphany feelings?
Like that epiphany, like did something just change right then and there? Like you knew something good was coming?
I felt happy because technically my circumstances would be considered not the best, because now I have no car. I'm totaled car.
You have a margarita in your hand. What time is it?
It was like 11:30 because I had to open the bar at 11, so it was like 10 when I totaled my car. By the time I was at the Riverside, it was like 11:30, And what happened was that it was overcast, so it wasn't like the sun was coming up. It was that the sun was gone, and it was like almost like it was gonna rain. But
it almost feels like that moment was for you, right?
Yeah, and I felt that same moment when I was a busser at Sawgrass, because it was like my 5th month that I got back in the country, and I was holding the bus stub in the middle of the restaurant. And I don't know why, I just had this burst of gratitude, and I teared up right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, because I had so many people in Mexico, because I worked with tourism, that told me, you're not going back. You're not. And I'm like, well, I have a lawyer. And they're like, well, we all have lawyers.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, but you're all criminals. You all got deported. I technically left legally so that I can come back legally. I mean, I did it with integrity. It's not that I got in trouble and got kicked out. I turned 18. They tell you have a grace period. You have to return. You have to enter the country legally to be able to apply to become a citizenship. So I had to leave and say I left within the 180 days after my 18th birthday so that I can apply to return legally. But where my lawyer said 6 months, it took 3 years because that's immigration, Mm-hmm. But it was quite the experience, Even in Ciudad Juarez, you're sitting at the embassy for 6 days. People are robbing your money right outside of the U.S. embassy because they act like they're part of the workers. They have a little tag and are you here for immigration? Yeah. Oh, follow me. And you cross the street, go into an office, pay them, and then go back just to be told that you just got scammed.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. Corrupt.
Everything was.
Yeah.
Everything was corrupt out there.
That's crazy, dude. I can't imagine trying to get past that border.
I bribed 3 cops out there, bro.
You bribed? Just to get here?
No. I got pulled over one time.
Oh, because they're corrupt.
Yeah. So one was I gave him $40, 400 pesos out there.
What would he pull you over for? Nothing? Is that even corrupt?
No, I got pulled over because you got pulled over for nothing, but a lot of times, out
they
there.
They want to get you on something.
I was drinking out there. It was different. I was 18 years old, So they try to act like they're going to put you in jail when really they want you to give them money.
They just want money.
It's all about money.
Yeah, and the second time I was just around, but my accent made it to where they think I have money. And then I told them, well, I work at Al Capone Seafood and Pizzeria. We always hook you guys up, the cops. And so he took my license, and the next day he shows up to my work, and we give him a large pizza with a bunch of appetizers in exchange for my license.
Dude, that's why I'm scared to go to Mexico. I really want to go to Tulum or Cabo or something. I might just be a sissy, but because there's no backing in Mexico, there's no rules. Anything flies for the most part.
Cabo's
right?
not like that.
Tourism is money, so really.
But think about it,
it's
something
organized
could happen,
crime,
and that's it.
It's organized crime. So really, if for example, when I was in Rocky Point, there was an incident where I believe it was a young American lady was beat up or something by some of the local drug dealers. And because it's organized crime, and when you mess with tourism, you mess with organized crime's money, they sent 7 people out there, and for 5 hours of the day, all you heard was shooting, and they took out 6 guys, and at the end of it, the baseball field, there's bullets, and there's an avalanche that's all freaking destroyed, and there's a grenade that didn't go off in the back of it. So you don't mess with tourism out there. But in general, like you said, there isn't really anything holding anybody back from anything. There was even incidents that kids would cry because they said they're missing their parents, so that you can help them find their parents, only so they can set you up to get robbed.
Literally.
Yeah.
Anything goes out there. It's the Wild West.
Literally. It was, and that's why I'm very blessed that I had a guardian angel kind of looking over me, because I was out there for sure,
Yeah, I mean, you've told me a few crazy stories, and I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here speaking with you about experiences and things, and it's a nice feeling. Like I said, I think a lot of my journey has been around feeling grateful for people and trying to do things as integrity driven as possible. And it sounds like you've had integrity within yourself, and now we're sitting here exchanging words.
Here we are.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, it's been good, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of when that really happened for me. I think it was just out there in college. I know I might sound like some preppy college kid, but it was out there in college because
you look like one.
Yeah, I know I do, right?
Just kidding.
It rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
But I was kind of just back. Where was I at? Big
Epiphany
city,
feelings
big city.
of like, oh, I'm destined for more type thing.
Oh yeah, so I like really saw what was out there, because you grew up here and there's only so many opportunities. There's really only so many things you can do. But then you go out there and you kind of open your eyes a little bit. And I was lucky to find like some great friends, Peter and Tommy Haglin. Actually, Peter Haglin, Tommy Hogue, Hunter Coyle. But it almost felt like I was, grouped up with these group of kids like for a reason.
It's always a reason.
Because yeah, me and my friend Frankie went out there for college. We went to high school together, graduated together, and then he went for the first semester, and then he took off the second semester for some reason. And I met Peter originally, which is crazy because it was in a Christian worldview class, and I met like this kid who was going to be my one of my best friends.
Right.
And he sat on the other side of the room. We kind of just like talked to each other, and then he sat next to me. But then he introduced me to Tom and this other group of friends that I would soon call my friends.
Good.
And it almost felt like I met them for a reason. Then the next year we lived together. Then the year after that we lived together.
It's all a build-up, bro, for
Yeah.
that when you're at that spot,
I learned a lot with them, too, because I almost like to when I think about them, I think of them like 2 years ahead of me or 1 year ahead of me in terms of like maturity or not like wokeness, but they just seem they're like a little brighter.
Yeah, if that's the word, I get it. Like the more like 2 years ago, I didn't believe in that spiritual, all that energies, and now I'm like, God, it's so real, and I feel it. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole. If you had to say one thing to anybody watching around the idea of not selling out and kind of like doing what your heart tells you to do, what would you advise anybody that has that feeling within themselves of, oh, I'm destined for more, but I don't think I can?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is honestly just staying true to yourself and not caring what others think of you. I remember when I first started my business, DAYNIGHT Media, I was like scared just to put videos out that I thought were good, or or even put captions out that might have exposed a little bit more about me. I always wanted to be the cool guy. Put like a sick caption, like chilling over here or something,
Right.
And not show like that real second layer to me. So once I started just being true to myself and not caring what other people think, then everything kind of took off for me, honestly.
I agree.
It feels like that anyways, but yeah, I mean, whatever you like to do. My passion was, making videos, or it is making videos. So at first, no one cared about my videos. Some people thought they were cool, but you got to almost find a way for people to care. You got to like create your own path, create a unique product, and not really care what anyone thinks. Just figure out how to, I think the saying is monetize your creativity.
Right.
You need to find like an outlet. So let's say what's something random? Just say something random you like to do.
Cook.
You like to cook?
Yes.
You want me to tell you how you could, make a business off of that?
Yes.
All right. So you make these. So what you're going to do is you're first going to get Instagram, Facebook, social media, all the YouTube, everything.
Twitter.
And that's really what's different actually about, our time versus 50 years ago. Say 50 years ago, you like to cook. If you like to cook 50 years ago, you have to have a restaurant or, have some sort of stand for people to give you money, and to make a living.
Right.
Nowadays, you can basically advertise your passion for free on the internet and gain traction. And it's a lot easier just to, create that avenue and create revenue for the most part, honestly.
Don't be scared to jump in and figure it out,
Yeah.
I would say, things happen inside out, not outside in. So there's one thing that anybody out here can throw your way that really can affect your interior. Everything is within yourself. So if that person says something offensive to me and I allow it to sprout into anger,
it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with you. But if you're able to understand that everything that exists within here comes out, it's not the other way around. Nobody can technically go inside of you and sprout a feeling. It's only a reaction to something that they did. So inside out, not outside in. And, stay true to yourself. Be grateful, especially during the holiday season, that you have the blessings that you do. There's it's a whole different world out there compared to what we're used to, and I think being grateful is a huge thing, and giving more than you expect.
Yeah, and I'm becoming like more and more grateful as I get older. I feel like, because like I said, I was kind of that like spoiled kid, had a good family and good backing, but
that's amazing.
Like it's just kind of like the little things nowadays. Like we just got this little puppy, so I'm starting to get that feeling of like being grateful to coming home to like almost my little family.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, so it feels good just to notice those little things that you just didn't notice once before.
I agree. Well, we're going to wrap up the show. We appreciate everybody. Have an amazing holiday season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Stay tuned next week. We have an awesome guest going to show up, and we'll let you know here shortly who it is. Peace.
Peace.